But he dropped more than that. The question is there some other issue there?
No, there definitely is. He's just not getting his turbo pressure up for some reason. But, you know, when we watch the slower cars, or not slower cars, but the different guys like John Paul come up and make so many position gains, remember, each team is negotiating and planning between 3 and/or 4 pit stops for this race. So different ones have different ideas right now on how their race is going to go.
Well, and here comes Stewart. Back moving forward as he comes around Buddy Lazier. That was Mike Groff, the white 10 car, that now is coming down alongside Lazier as well.
Pretty close racing right through that trial over there.
Groff has really been, Mike Groff in the white car on the left there, has really been fast. I've watched him all during practice. He's got the car set the way he wants. It sets on the racetrack real nice. And it looks like now he's starting to put it to good use during the race.
Well, look who's having a problem is that sort of purple-blue car of Buddy Lazier.
Yep.
These guys are going okay, but Buddy's just dropping spot after spot right there. Look, he just dropped 3 spots in that half a lap.
Just ahead of him is Richie Hearn, then Scott Sharp, then Roberto Guerrero. They're involved in a nice little fight. Sharp and Guerrero have been fighting rather consistently here.
And Denver, he's going right underneath him as well.
Yeah, so Buddy Lazier, the Indy 500 champion, with something obviously wrong with that car. This is the leader, with Robbie Gordon right behind him. Lyondike and Gordon over on the backstretch.
Now there's 2 guys with an awful lot of oval track experience right there.
And some pretty good wins under their belt as well. And of course, Robbie Gordon, he just finished his last IndyCar race. Now he's in an IRL. Then I think he's going to stock car racing this year, and he still has a championship to win in off-road trucks as well.
Yeah, he pretty well has that one wrapped up. So Lyondike up at the front of the field, Jackaroo.
And you should begin to see Lyondike.
Oh, right, just blew past him. Lyondike got caught up behind some slower traffic, and Robbie grabs the lead. So Robbie Gordon now the leader of the run.
Got him sleeping right there.
I think what you're going to see, guys, is now both Robbie Gordon and Ari Lyondike are going to run wide open. Our radio transmissions we listened to said go to green. Here's the reason why. Enough in this segment.
Lyondike back to the lead, Jack.
Sorry, Jack, but they're swapping spots left and right. Lyondike's now back in the lead. We didn't mean to interrupt your story.
Oh, Robbie.
Right along. You're doing great.
Robbie Gordon's radio, and I thought I heard the words, "This is dangerous," as he threads his way through traffic. We'll keep it open.
But that was Derek Walker came back on, said, "You're doing great."
Look at this. He passed him again. He's going back around Lyondike. What we're seeing here, Bobby, is traffic is dictating, I think, what's going on. If these guys have to lift out of it because they get behind the slow car, it changes a lot.
Danny, we're seeing 2 race drivers that are being stubborn right now.
That's what you want, so just play it smart, real smart.
That's Derek Walker saying play it smart.
Whoa, car into the wall. 2 of them, big hit.
That looks like Buddy Lazier's car.
Well, we got to check the nose. It might be Murphy.
That's Murphy, I'm pretty sure.
And did you see one
Somebody
just went
nipped him
through?
there.
A red car went through and caught a tire down the back. I believe he nipped a tire, too.
The biggest problem is all the parts. Look at all the parts that are laying there. That's the biggest single problem.
That left of your screen, that red car clipped a tire, I believe, when he went through it.
So 3 cars involved in this one. Eddie Cheever there.
Oh, Eddie, and he's got a new team. He started himself. He's got a team going. That's not the way he wanted to do his first race, is it?
Eddie just lost a valve during practice. They ruined an engine that way, and now to wreck the car, not a good day for him.
Stefan Gregoire climbs from his car. He's been incredibly fast. In fact, yesterday in practice, he white-walled a tire, and we thought, well, he'd be coming in right away. It went several laps without coming in. The USAC safety team is there with Eddie Cheever. It appears that he's okay, only they're taking a little bit of time and paying attention to his feet. You can see the nose is off of that car. Let's take a look at this one, Danny.
This is turn 2. Oh. You know, when it went up there, it looked like it was just one car, but obviously there's 2. Boy, a lot of debris there.
The debris is what really gets all the guys running behind there.
Yeah, they've already gotten tangled up here.
Well, watch as they come off the wall.
Now watch this tire. something right through there. Whoa, Gregoire just went through there and...
Oh, he's lucky, Danny, on that tire. That was really lucky. Nothing worse than hit a rolling tire.
Yeah,
Another look.
But he had no choice. He had to thread it through there because he couldn't take a chance.
The cars touched right there. Danny and Paul, they touched. They locked up together and immediately went to the wall. But remember, that's well over 200 miles an hour, so it's instant to the wall.
So Brad Murphy and Eddie Cheever get together, and then Stefan Gregoire comes running through the middle of it. That brings out our second yellow of the day as the USAC crews try to clean up, and we'll be back after this message and a word from our ABC stations. We're back at the Indy Racing League, the Las Vegas 500K. Now, we're under our second yellow. Brad Murphy, they are still working with his car, the USAC safety team right there. They've had the jaws of life out, and they have been working with that car. As yet, Murphy has not been taken out of the car. Let's go to Jack Arute.
Well, Paul, these are the tires that just came off of Buddy Lazier's car. What they're doing right now is they are trying to find a mysterious ailment on the race car itself. About 5 laps before the yellow came out, you saw Lazier making a run to the back, not to the front. He reported that the car was so loose, it tended to dart forward and lose control of the car. So far, they have not been able to find the problem. And Gary Gerald, that is not the way you want to be at the controls of a race car at over 200 miles an hour, not knowing what's wrong.
Absolutely, on any high-speed track. Here's a man who has just come in from out here. Well, we've got emergency vehicle arriving. We're at the safety center, and the drivers from the last incident being brought in. Johnny Parsons had just been released. You lost an engine, we know, and then it got you up into the wall. Tell us about the conditions up to that particular point, and how tough is it, particular with visibility, sand, when you get outside the groove?
There was really no problem with visibility. The sand was, no effect on the track. We've been here all week getting acclimated to things. Really no problem at all, Gary. It's I just had to hold my line. We really got slowed down quite a bit in the Electech car. Even the Firestone tires can't work when oil's underneath the back of them, and so we got slowed down enough. It wasn't that bad.
Well, now, you get any kind of a feel for how this thing is going to unfold? Is it too early to know? You see anybody who's got muscle or power? Is this going to be an endurance test?
We've entered the race considering it's somewhat of a mini enduro, and there's a lot of good teams here with preparation. But you got some race drivers, that are up front, like Gordon and Leyendyke, are going to treat it like a sprint car race. And it's a small enough track and fast enough, you could consider it a sprint car race. But, we drivers are pretty fortunate after getting into the wall here and coming out in good shape. I hope Murphy's okay. We got guys in the hospital that run sprint cars this week. I want to say hi to Brad Marvel and hope those guys get well soon and get back out in the circuit.
Thanks, John. Jack?
Well, Gary, your leader, Robbie Gordon, is not at all happy with the speed of the pace car. It's been an advertised speed, but Gordon is looking at his dash and seeing that the car is beginning to develop an overheating problem under these slow laps. He's back and forth frantically to Derek Walker, and I think if we listen in, you'll hear the calming influences of his crew chief, Derek Walker, saying, "Don't worry about it, don't worry about it."
Yeah, he's over on the backside of the race course, so we're not hearing the radio as clearly as we could. The 27 car, Jim Guthrie, they're going to penalize him, stop-and-go penalty for violation of the pit speed limit, which is 80 miles an hour here. Robbie Gordon will be the leader of the race on what looks like it's going to go quite a bit longer on yellow here. And you saw a moment ago the indication that Brad Murphy was out of the car being taken over to the ambulance. Now, tomorrow night, Al Michaels will host an action-packed, heart-stopping primetime special showcasing the greatest sports moments of all time. And I think you find A.J. Foyt will be part of that. And then Jim Kelly and the Buffalo Bills travel to Three Rivers Stadium to avenge last year's playoff loss against the AFC champion Pittsburgh Steelers on ABC's NFL Monday Night Football. That's all tomorrow night, right here on ABC. And on Brad Murphy, there they are loading him into the emergency vehicle out on the racetrack. We'll be back with more from Las Vegas.
We welcome you back to Las Vegas. A disgruntled and upset Eddie Cheever has just walked in and out of the medical center. You're obviously okay physically, but I know you're not happy with what happened. Can you tell us what happened?
I don't really know. All I know is that I started in the back of the grid. I was working my way up, and I got hit in the back by one of Helmgren's cars. I don't really know who it was. A stupid mistake. I really don't know what happened. Maybe he had a problem. I mean, there's a lot of room out there. There's no need whatsoever to run into the back of somebody. I'm very disappointed, and what else can I say? It's happened 3 times this year, and I'm getting real tired of it. But I guess that sort of stuff happens in racing. It's great to be here in Las Vegas. It's a beautiful facility, and I was looking forward to the race. My car was running well. We had some problems in qualifying, but we were going to the front, and I'm mad. Very mad.
Thank you. That's the story from Eddie Cheever, Paul.
Yeah, and here is Tony Stewart into the pits. They changed the tires, precautionary, of course, making sure with all of the debris that has ended up on the
fuel. Reset your.
They're talking to Tony Stewart. We have his radio open.
Nice job. Nice job.
And what Larry Curry's telling him is to richen his fuel up, getting out so the car doesn't, or so the engine doesn't stall.
Jackaroo?
Well, Paul, that stop's not surprising. Remember what a fuel guzzler the Menards are. Now, the leader of the race, Robbie Gordon, his team owner here, Derek Walker, you've been asking Zach to make the pace car go a little faster. Why?
Well, the engines are getting a little too hot in this temperature at the speed we're going. We need the airspeed through the radiators to keep it cool, so we just wanted to step it up a little bit.
What about the scenario now? A lot of full course yellow, at least in this segment. Where does that put your first stop window?
Well, obviously we'll update it depending on how many yellows we get, but it's almost guaranteed if everything goes according to plan to be a 3-stop race now. We've had enough yellows, so we don't know exactly whether it's 50, 55, somewhere in that region.
Guys, I don't know. Sometimes I think that's an oxymoron if everything goes according to plan.
It certainly seldom goes according to plan. So now behind the pace car will be Robbie Gordon, then Arie Luyendyk, Mike Groff, Roberto Guerrero. We are waiting for word on Brad Murphy, also waiting to talk with Stefan Gregoire. Since we saw him almost hop and run out of the race car, we presume that he is okay, but we'll be waiting for official word. Again, when we go back green, Jim Guthrie will receive a stop-and-go penalty. Pit speed limit is 80 miles an hour. Observers reported him at 105 miles an hour going down the pits. That's not just breaking the speed limit.
Yeah, well, that's just slightly. They'll usually give you about 5 miles an hour, and then
that sounds like
they get a little upset.
That sounds like Bobby on Interstate 15.
Yes, I mean.
Let's go to pit side and Gary Gerald.
Another driver just released, Stefan Gregoire. I know it was a very close call for you, threading your way through that debris.
Yes, it was impossible to me to pass through, you know. I had only one way to go, and it was between both cars, and it was not enough room to go through, and I hit a little bit Eddie Cheever, I think. I don't remember exactly which car, and I spin with my car, you know. It's a shame. The track is very dirty outside. As soon as you go out of the line, you get loose, and it's impossible to touch the brake. So it was my case. I was not able to touch the brake. It was hard to break down my car.
So we've been watching the replay of that particular incident. It could have been much, much worse, I'm sure.
Absolutely, I was the dangerous one, because if I would have, crashed in Brad, for example, it would have been very bad. But fortunately, I was able to go through.
Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you.
So Stefan Gregoire joins Johnny Parsons Jr., Brad Murphy, and Eddie Cheever as being listed out of the run.
Well, you could see he caught Eddie's right rear with his right rear. Luckily, it wasn't any more severe than that.
And there still is a rather extensive cleanup to be done as we look over onto the backstretch. Jack?
Well, the investigation on Buddy Lazier's mount seems to have identified what the potential problem is. And that is not good news, guys, because they think it might be a broken engine mount.
Boy, that just shows you what the high bank tracks, the tracks that are so fast, put so much strain on them right there.
Let's go to Gary Gerald.
Here's Dr. Henry Bach now, who's come out of the medical center. Can you tell us about Brad Murphy?
Brad Murphy is awake and alert, and he is stable. He has some pain in his right thigh. We suspect he may have a femur fracture on that side. He's going down to the University Medical Center for further tests down there.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jerry.
Well, that is terrific news. We were a little apprehensive considering the length of time they used to take him out. But, of course, the safety team, their whole idea is to take your time and not cause any additional injury to the driver by removing him too quickly. Well, USAC has all of the crews out trying to get the racetrack cleared up as Robbie Gordon continues to circle behind the pace car, hoping that they will pick the pace up of the pace car.